Hello everyone. We are just delighted to be part of this OnConference, Seize the Moment. Thank you very much, Barbara, for that kind introduction. We are here today to talk about two initiatives where libraries do seize the moment and take the lead. But first, let's tell you who we are. I'm Valerie, and this is?
I'm Christy.
And so I'll be talking about libraries equals education, and Christy will be talking about
Choosability.
But first, we want to thank you. We know that you work hard every day to move our library profession forward and upward. And so just thanks very much for everything you do and for your leadership and all your contributions. We get all kinds of ideas, don't we, Christy, from you all. So thank you for what you have contributed to our overall curriculum. So Christy, let's get started.
Let's begin by envisioning the future. Fast forward 20 years, where do you see libraries if you adopt this libraries equal education vision?
Well, in 20 years, libraries equals education could take our profession and really solve all of our problems. I've been privileged now to go out and talk about this for, well, probably over 100 plus keynotes, workshops, etc. And it is so exciting to see not only the successes that we have seen with that, but also just really so many library systems across the country and beyond. It's really an international challenge. The challenge being, we're not quite sure why others do not perceive our accurate value. Right. And so there's a disconnect between what we do and our value and the funding that we receive and the respect that we get. And so fast forward 20 years with Libraries Equals Education, we are fully valued. Mm-hmm. We have the funding. We are the highest funding priority in any economy because we are the highest priority. People recognize us for our value. Externally, people give us the respect we deserve and the funding. Internally, our jobs are more fun because we have a flourishing future, because we are indeed fully valued.
So I see you have a couple of water bottles over there.
Tell me
about that. Tell me how that relates to this vision.
Well, the vision really involves three components. Let me just back up a little bit. The first component is positioning your library system as an educational institution on equal footing with colleges, universities, and schools. Right. That's public libraries. Mm-hmm. It applies to really all kinds of libraries. So for a school library, it would be on par with the other departments in the school, where without the library, the school falls apart. Right. Education is so central, and it's the library that is central to the success of the students, faculty, and school. Same thing for a university, right, on par with the other department. And to get to that point, we use language. And so it's really a matter of switching out some vocabulary. So to position ourselves as an educational institution, to then position ourselves as educators, because people understand that. Right. And then to subscribe to strategic vocabulary, which is what these two water bottles are all about. So I'm just asking you the question here. I have a bottle of generic water. Mm-hmm. How much do you all think I paid for this generic bottle of water? Well, Christy, go ahead.
I'm guessing about $1.
Well, actually, I paid a little more than that. Okay. I paid $1.98 for 6 generic waters. Okay. So now I have here a bottle of Evian water. How much do you think I paid for this?
Well, it's a nicer looking bottle. The label is much more elegant. So if I am buying a 6-pack of those, I'm guessing it's maybe around $12.
Well, if I were buying them individually, you are right. But I actually paid $6.58. So in a blind taste test, guess which one I like better? That's not a trick question. Actually,
I'm guessing it's the generic.
It was the generic.
Yeah.
The point is, most of us, you have to have the same water. Right. You can't have water that tastes bad and get more than 3 times the funding for it. No. But the concept is, we in library world can get more money for precisely what we are already doing, assuming the water is already tasting delicious. And that is extraordinary customer service. Our curriculum is already there, and all of you out there already are delivering great things. So to then use language to attain the perceived value that is accurate, because perception is everything. But look at Evian. What do they say? From the French Alps. Ooh, that sounds good. My favorite is rejuvenation. So that's what they use in part. language, but there are 3 examples from the business world too, and that I can use here. What did prunes, the industry prunes, how did they revolutionize their image?
Oh, aren't they called dried plums?
Dried plums,
Yeah.
yes. So now it's as hip as dried pears to put a bag of dried plums into your shopping basket, whereas before it was medicinal,
Yes.
senior. 2 more. One would be the liquor industry. What did they change to?
I believe they now refer to themselves as spirits.
Spirits.
Yes.
Yeah. So now it's
Yes.
it's friends, and as opposed to the low life and toasts. And my last example is the industry of gambling. What did they change to? One single word they changed that revolutionized their image.
They changed to gaming.
Yes.
Yes.
So now it's a choice. It's a family vacation. At any rate, our magic word, as it were, is education. And if we position ourselves as such, again, in 20 years, we will be flourishing. It's a timeless vision because education is the key to the world's problems, and it's simply very, very powerful.
We've talked a little bit about strategic vocabulary. Tell me a little bit more about that and why the word education is more important than, or conveys more value than, say, the word information.
Well, have you ever been told or said in passing, well, why do we need libraries? I have all the information I need off the internet.
Yes, yes, I have.
Well, would that question never be put to the schools?
No, of course not. No.
Schools, colleges, and universities, their inherent value is understood. And so we too are education as opposed to information. And so if you use the word education broadly, then you can position yourself on that. But if I could just say a few words about the word education, because the definition is maybe different from people in the audience are immediately thinking about. Mostly when we think about education, we think about formal education that leads to a degree. And so what we're talking about here is information about a subject matter is part of the definition, knowledge acquired by learning, activities that impart knowledge, the process of acquiring knowledge, and the catch-all, and enlightening experience.
Right.
So if you really think about that broad definition, we also clearly support the curriculum of the schools, which is formal education. So we should be aligning ourselves with the school system, but we are education as opposed to supporting. And I'm guessing that people in the audience already say we support education, but that means that we are supporting the school's curriculum as opposed to our own. So with that broad definition, can you think of anything that falls outside that definition that we do?
I can't think of anything. No.
Maybe
all encompassing.
faxes and copies, but that's ancillary to our basic mission, which is education for everyone, equal opportunity in education. Some library systems have someone who is a social worker in their library, but is that not comparable to, say, a school nurse?
Yes.
Or a guidance counselor?
Or a guidance counselor, right.
So again, while that may be a little bit outside of the definition of education, it is still, it allows us to still squarely position ourselves as educators and an educational institution.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about titles. Here at Howard County Library System, we have instructors and research specialists as opposed to librarians. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that title conveys our value or doesn't convey our value?
We have working titles for our librarians. Librarians, always librarians, but to then have people outside the profession understand it, to refer to ourselves as instructors and research specialists. Because if I tell you I'm a librarian, what do you think I do?
Read books all day.
Yes, or my favorite, oh, it must be so quiet where you are. So I read books all day and I do shh. The stereotype is still there.
Right.
But if I tell you I'm an instructor, what do you think I do?
It's very clear you're teaching classes.
I teach.
Right.
And if I tell you I'm a research specialist, what do you think I do?
You are conducting research for people's homework assignments or research projects and so on.
And so I'm an expert. So if
Yes.
you're the governor of the state of Kansas and you know that I'm a librarian that read books and I shh people all day, how much are you going to fund me? At the generic level or the Avion level?
Generic level.
And if I tell you that I'm an instructor and I'm a research expert, and so I don't use the word reference because that doesn't mean anything to people,
Right.
and I say that I teach classes as opposed to do programs or do story time. The verb is
Right.
teach. It's really kind of
Right.
sad. I think a lot of them in the profession say we do story time.
Yeah, what
So
does that mean?
so if I'm teaching preschool classes and an instructor, how are you going to fund me?
Avion.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's as easy as switching out the language. Again, the concept is a story time is a preschool class.
Right.
And a program, most of us use the word program without even thinking about it. And what we really mean is a seminar, a workshop, a class, an event.
Right. It's
So
just
that's
much more intuitive. Everyone knows exactly what you mean.
Precisely.
Right. Great. So why is libraries equal education so effective as a vision?
It's just kind of magic. It commands the respect that we deserve, and we don't have to change anything that we are doing. It's just by modifying a few terms. It really elevates the perceived value in a way that, again, is if you've tried it out there at all, I would encourage you to try it even more. We are presenting a session at the upcoming ALA conference that includes some other library systems and their success stories as well. But here in Howard County, we have tripled and quadrupled our statistics over the last decade, and that includes doubling our operating budget. Actually, when I got here in 2001, I was told by a very gracious county council member, you're not even on the radar.
Right.
We'll need fewer branches instead of more. And that was not the case with the school system and the community college here.
Right.
And so by repositioning ourselves as a key component of the education enterprise, we have, again, now, invested $100 million in more square feet. We have a new branch, and it was up to us to educate the community and the elected officials who actually implement what the community wants.
Right.
And so to reposition ourselves and actually teach people that we are their highest priority. Monty Manning, director of a library system in Indiana, said something that just kind of stuck with me. He tried this. He was going for a relatively small amount of money for a renovation. I think it was something like $365,000. But he was prepared to be raked over the coals because he knew that the commissioners did that. And he went armed with statistics, but he started out by saying, this is supporting education for everyone, equal opportunity in education for all ages.
Right.
And they didn't even ask a question. They said, of course we support education, and they funded it to him. He wrote to me and he said, I was stunned by the power of the E word.
It certainly had been successful here at Howard County Library System and can be successful in any library, whether public or academic, right?
That's right. Every type of library system, it's a little bit different. I was a law librarian once, and so to apply it there, you use the terminology and you position the library so that the firm falls apart without the library and the library staff. I did want to talk about the three pillars just a bit, because this vision involves positioning everything we do under these three easy-to-remember pillars. The first pillar is self-directed education. The second is research, assistance, and instruction. And the third is instructive and enlightening experience. So the first pillar is everything we do that others then find on their own, our customers. Books, e-books, anything we make available. The second pillar is research assistance and instruction. Again, that's not reference, it's research, because people understand and value that at the Avion level. And then instruction, the classes that we teach for students of all ages. Then the third pillar is instructive and enlightening experiences. That is bringing the community together. A lot of you out there have community conversations and events and author events. You'll get funding for that if you position that under the third pillar of your educational mission, and so put that under that particular part. But the partnerships that we are talking about fall under that third pillar, and we'll get to civility. That falls squarely under pillar 3 of our educational mission. So all of that put together is our curriculum. It's not our programs and services, because people don't understand what a program is, and a service is what? Something helpful to others. Call it curriculum, and suddenly it's almost as powerful as the word education.
Absolutely. I mean, it's very intuitive. People know exactly what it means. Programs and services is very vague. Lots of people have programs and services, but what does that mean?
Right.
So we use
the second reason why those three pillars are so effective is because they're timeless. 100 years from now, self-directed education will still need that.
Yes.
A research assistance and instruction still will need that, and instructive and enlightening experiences. With technology, I think we'll need that more and more, because with technology, you still have that. We're human beings. We want to connect. And so it's going to become ever more important.
Absolutely, absolutely. We need that human connection, and that's where I suppose where choosability comes into play.
Right.
Yes.
So should we move on to choosability, Christy?
Let's do that.
So let's start with what the initiative is. What is choosability?
So choosability is a community-wide initiative that started back in 2006 when Dr. Forney, who wrote Choosing Civility, the 25 Rules of Considerate Conduct, was the keynote speaker at our Professional Development Day. And our staff were so moved by what he had to say that we thought right away, we need to do something with this. We need to make this a community-wide conversation. And some of our Board of Trustees members were at that event, and they started talking about it. And we came together, and in 2007, we launched Choosability with the Chamber of Commerce, with the Community College, and it has grown and evolved since then.
Well, why is civility such a great word? Can you define that for us?
Well, civility, it encompasses how we connect with one another. It's the communication, it's tolerance, it's respect, it's honest communication. It's all of that. And civility is really a framework for how we connect with one another.
So it would include my opening the door for you if I saw that you had a whole bunch of folders in 3 bags.
Absolutely.
And it would also be what, the universal concepts of respect and consideration and inclusiveness that crosses all cultures?
Right, exactly. It's anywhere from our basic manners, from day-to-day interactions, to how we interact with each other, how we talk to one another, how we treat one another. Yes.
Right. So you say it all started in 2006. Did something happen in Howard County?
No, it did not. We simply brought Dr. Forney to our Professional Development Day. He came and spoke, and again, people were so touched by what he had to say that we thought, we celebrate what is happening here already. We have a really great community, and let's elevate that even further. So, and it has. Choosability has become the brand for Howard County. When there are difficult conversations, people refer back to choosability.
So maybe it's a little bit like libraries equals education in that it's kind of a timeless word. It will always be a hot topic.
Yes.
And today, more than ever, civility is something that we all aspire to. And so in our personal lives and in our work lives,
exactly.
community-wide, it's kind of one-on-one, it's group, it's among library staff, and then it's out in the community.
Right.
How does the library take the lead, and why is it beneficial to libraries to take the lead in this type of partnership?
Well, libraries are uniquely situated to take the lead in an initiative like this because we are a nonpartisan, non-political, trusted source where people know they can come and have some of these difficult conversations. Libraries are open to the community. Our entire customer base is part of the community, is the community. So it makes sense for us to take the lead on this initiative. It also fits within our educational pillars, right? So our collections, the book list that we create, that falls under self-directed education. The classes that we teach, like Choosability, the Elephant Piggy Way, Mean Girls, or Fake News, those all fall under research assistance and instruction. And then the whole partnership concept itself falls under instructive and enlightening experiences.
What kinds of, well, you mentioned the Elephant and Piggy Way, teaching civility to the youngsters, and then Mean Girls for the high school, middle school ages. What about adults? Can you give us an example of a class for adults?
Coming up shortly, we have one about fake news. So that is obviously a very timely topic where our instructors will talk about and teach people how do you discern true and trusted sources? How do you know that you're getting honest and truthful news and not alternative facts, if you will?
So we brand that particular class, if you will, under the Choosability Initiative, and that's part of Pillar 2.
Right.
And it's simply one of the classes that is in our publication.
Right.
So Pillar 3, the partnership itself, falls under Pillar 3. How many partners? Would you say that's our biggest partnership? Many of you have partnerships with the school system, but that's pretty big, especially if there are a lot of school districts. But is this not the most powerful partnership that we have, would you say?
I would say that we have over 125 partners from the community encompassing all sectors. So the faith community, nonprofits, government agencies, the school system is probably our strongest partner.
So it actually merges with the partnership with the schools.
Absolutely, it
It's
does.
one of the key components, and they're a major player.
Yes, yes.
What about businesses?
Businesses are part of our initiative. In fact, we are working on a Choosability workplace component, which we hope to roll out later this year.
With, again, the library center stage
As the lead organization.
and indispensable, really, to this particular topic.
Yeah, yeah.
What's going on this year? I know there's a different theme every year. In past years, it's been bridging, OMG to AARP,
Right.
bridging the multi-generational divide, right?
Yes, right. We've talked about technology, we've talked about civility and democracy, we've talked about civility and sports. This year we're focusing on kindness creates community. And in this environment where we are so divided through our politics, through just our everyday interactions, people are really hungering for connections. So we've done a couple of things. So the first one that I want to talk about was our Coding for Community Hackathon, which we actually learned about from our Choosability chapter in Portland, Maine.
I forgot about the chapters. Can you
Yes.
just digress and say which chapters?
Right.
We have two civility chapters across the country.
We do. We have Choosability chapters in Portland, Maine, in Freeborn County, Minnesota, in Southern Maryland, Washington County, Maryland, and Miami, Florida.
And there is growing interest. Can you just say who's
Yes.
also coming
Yes.
on board with that?
I have fielded so many phone calls in the last 3 months from libraries in Loudoun County, Virginia, in New Jersey, in Ohio, as well as individuals out in California, in Indiana and Illinois. So it is a growing concern, a growing movement, I should say. And we set up a structure to bring people in, bring organizations in. So again, we say that we recommend that libraries are the lead organizations, but really any organization can take the lead if that's what you want to do.
Like in Southern Maryland, I think it's the community college.
College, right, right. So we put together a structure, and you can, if you visit our website, you can see we have a how to start a Choosability chapter or affiliate, and it outlines the steps, if you will. Now, how you determine your structure is completely up to you, because what works for us here in Howard County may not work for your organization or for your area. So we are happy to share what we have done and what works for us, but give you the leeway to do what's going to work best for your area. So we have chapters, which are external community-wide partnerships, so like what we do here in Howard County. And then there are affiliates, and those are internal. So for example, there's a department within the city government of Alexandria, Virginia, that's an affiliate because they just wanted to focus on their area.
But back to the hackathon, when I so rudely interrupted you. Hackathon we borrowed from Portland, Maine, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So can you just give a few more details about that?
Yes, we were really intrigued by what they did, and so we worked with some of our partners here to create a hackathon for middle, high school, and college-age students. And so the first question was, what's a hackathon? Like, I didn't know what a hackathon was.
Well, it sounds like fun.
It really was
Sounds
a lot of fun.
high tech too.
Yeah. So middle, high school.
And maybe a little dangerous and daring.
Well, we gave them challenges. So we asked our partners for what are some of the challenges that you're facing. So we gave the challenges to the teams, and they worked on them. So one of the examples is a Neighbors Helping Neighbors app. So say you have a senior citizen and you have a blizzard, and they can't shovel their walk. They could put their need out on this app, and they say, I need help shoveling my walk. Maybe a couple of blocks over, there's someone who can shovel their walk, and they would log in and see, there's someone who has a need, I can help. That's sort of some of the kinds of things that our teams worked on at the hackathon. It was very successful. We're already looking forward to next year's event.
Well, I know I visited just briefly, and the kids were really deep into it. And they worked in teams.
Yes.
So it also taught leadership and teamwork in addition to the high tech. And there was a mentor and from some pretty impressive businesses around the area.
As well as judges then who came to give awards for the most user-friendly and there were various criteria that we had, and the judges from the tech community came out and judged that.
What about the Board of Advisors? Can you talk about that?
Yes, so as part of our community-wide partnership, we invited people from the community to be part of a Board of Advisors to sort of help us set the direction and give us feedback on how we're doing and where we're going.
So the library as lead,
Right.
and then other key leaders from really key institutions, entities, businesses, government,
Right.
with the library convening, again,
Yes.
positioning the library center stage.
Yes, right. And then they
Seizing the moment to,
That's right.
to capitalize on
That's
the topic
right.
of this OnConference.
And then they direct the work of the committees, which again are comprised of people from the community. So the Economic Development Authority, the Chamber of Commerce, the school system, the community college, a number of our partners are on those committees and move the initiative forward.
So people in the audience are probably thinking, wow, that's great. That sounds like a lot of work. Do you want to maybe mention how they can already take what they're doing and start on this?
Absolutely. So we already create book lists, right, as libraries. So we created book lists for children, for teens, for adults, and for workplaces.
Can they snatch hours? Is it available somewhere?
It's available on our website, so you can certainly download our book lists. We also theme some of our existing classes. So preschool classes, for example, Choose Civility the Elephant Piggy Way. That's an easy class where you take the Mo Willems books with Elephant and Piggy and you adapt it to the classes.
So if it's a story time that they are already presenting. So we simply say we are teaching a class, to use the libraries equals education verbiage.
Right.
And then branding that under Choose Civility to package it and market it and just make a big deal out of it.
Right, right. And we are already teaching classes for teens or leading sessions for teens.
Right.
So again, branding those under the Choose Civility umbrella, picking topics that resonate with teens that fall under Choose Civility, like the Mean Girls, or learning about technology and how the intergenerational aspects of technology, that sort of thing.
Okay. Yeah. And then if it's an author event that a library system might be doing anyway, to maybe bring somebody in with the subject of civility? Right?
Yes, so we have had symposiums in the past where we had a panel that included authors and other experts on the topic that we were discussing. So of course, right, so libraries are already doing that. So just rebrand those under Choose Civility.
What about the PR department? Do you have any extra work?
I have a little extra work, but you know what? I love this. This is really my passion. And so it's not really an extra work for me because it's so much fun.
And maybe you can do a stop doing list in favor of this because it really is so effective in seizing the moment and being central to the community.
Absolutely.
What else, Christy, should people know about Choose Civility?
We're here to help you. We want you to be successful. We want you to expand the Choose Civility initiative throughout the country. So we're here to help. So if you have a question, send us an email, call us. Happy to talk with you. We might make it easy for you as well. So we have a Choose Civility document on our website that gives you sort of an outline. But again, if you want to change it to suit your organization, you're welcome to do so.
And measures of success for people to keep in mind as they move forward with pieces of this?
Well, so one of the things we did early on is we
That's a
created
magnet.
a card magnet. Right, it says Choose Civility, Howard County, Maryland. We knew we were onto something when we couldn't keep them in stock. They were all over the place.
I know my parents have one in Indiana and they still get questions. Where did you get that card magnet?
Where did you get that card magnet? So up to this point, we've got 70,000 card magnets around the country. And in fact, so here's this goes back to the chapter part of it. I was in Minnesota and I saw a Choose Civility card magnet on the car ahead of me. I told my husband, speed up, get as close as you can so I can see where that's from. And it was from our chapter in Freeborn County, Minnesota. So you know you're onto something, again, when you see the Choose Civility magnet and it doesn't matter where you are, right? If whether you're in Portland or Minnesota or California or Ohio or Indiana or where you are, the message is the same, right? Choose Civility. So that's one way that we knew that we were onto something, is with this magnet. The other way we knew we were onto something is the number of spoofs that it spawned, right? So there's Choose Insanity, Choose Hostility. My absolute personal favorite, Choose a Lane. For the love of God, just choose one. Choose Compassion. I mean, the number of spoofs that came about, we really knew that was, that this had gone
Kind of
viral.
like Got Milk, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm seeing over here some posters. You want to talk about these yet?
One of the things that we have done, again, to involve our community, is create a series of Faces of Civility posters. And these, each one is on as a different principle. So there are 15 principles of civility, and this is principle 2, listen, and it features a high school student. This one features one of our partners at Howard Community College, Speak Kindly, principle number 3. This one is a client of the ARC, be inclusive. and a teacher at one of the local elementary schools accept and give praise. So we have a series of 15 posters that we have available on our website. We make available to our partners. We publicize through social media as well.
And those 15 posters correspond with the 15 principles of civility.
Right.
Good. Well, that brings our conversation to a close. Thanks so much, Christy.
Thank you, Valerie.
We are delighted to answer questions for you at this point and be involved in a further conversation with you yet as part of this OnConference. But first, wanted to let you know that if you're interested more in either the Libraries Equals Education vision or Choose Civility, there is a book that is written on this called Transforming Our Image, Building Our Brand, The Education Advantage. And there will be 2 upcoming conference sessions. One is a Web Junction webinar that will be focusing on civility. It's going to be called Civility Goes Viral. That will be taking place April 18, sponsored by HCLS, if you'd like to join in. And then at the ALA conference, there will be a session on Libraries Equals Education, and other libraries will be there too to talk about their experiences with it. The date and time have yet to be set, so just look in the conference session catalog for those details. And lastly, we invite you to visit hclibrary.org to take the Libraries Equals Education image to use. I know a library system in Kansas just put them on t-shirts. Yep. And we have buttons that we're using this week in Maryland for Legislative Day. Everybody's wearing them throughout the libraries, and we'll be wearing them at the legislative reception so that our elected officials can see that we are education. And then the Choose Civility image is available at choosecivility.org, along with some guidance and steps on how to move forward. And also on the screen, you'll see our email. Christy and I love email.
We do.
So feel free to contact us, and we will be delighted to have a conversation with you that way. So again, Christy, thank you, and thank you all very, very much.